Welcome to Love to See It, a podcast about what happens when everything changes.
Because paradise isn't just about finding the love of your life, baby. It's about finding the person you can bear to be around long enough to convincingly secure 500,000 cold, hard dollars.
Joining us to recap episode 6 of Bachelor in Paradise season 10, host of the pop mystery podcast, Tess Barker. Tess, welcome back to Love to See It. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Always happy to be here.
Oh my gosh, we're so excited to have you. Before we get into it, just a little housekeeping reminder if anyone missed it that we recently discussed the absolutely zany Netflix show, The Hunting Wives, over on Rich Text. You can find that episode at claireandemma.substack.com.
An action-packed episode of Bachelor in Paradise. And the twists start right away because there's like a new twist in the credits today where instead of seeing everyone's little like mug for the camera, it gets interrupted by workers and then they just give up on it. What was this
They're-
about?
They're doing comedy.
Yeah. Well, now I don't know who's in the episode, so.
It seems like an ongoing bit from like the first episode where we saw them it was like a flashback of like after the party. So I think that's the through line here is this BTS
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, they're like, we heard you want us to break the fourth wall, so we're going to do some very staged behind the scenes. So as we get back into the episode, it's almost rose ceremony time. 3 of the 6 golden women are going home tonight, unless Jonathon does the right thing and gives April his rose.
He won't.
He won't. 4 women are vying for Gary's rose, or as Gary calls himself, Big G. He's got a lot of options. Nancy, Leslie, Natasha, and April are all flirting with him, but he's only considering Leslie and Nancy.
I was so mad when I realized either Leslie or Nancy were going to go home.
And Natasha and April don't even have a chance.
No, not even a little bit.
No, and I feel like Leslie is someone who I've been rooting for so long, and she just keeps coming up to the finish line and then not quite crossing.
I mean, it's impossible with options like these. And by options like these, I mean virtually no options.
Yeah. She keeps getting set up to fail.
Even when
are.
Even when she gets the rose, he still finds a way for her to fail.
Gary, look, I love Big G, but he's a little bit on my shit list after this episode.
Little
for
too
lack
much
of
of a
basic
high
math.
roller.
Oh my God.
So Faith and Kim are finally connecting. I feel like Kim and Keith are both there as options that like no one's fighting too hard for. They're like, if this is the guy that I'm going to get a rose from, great. But I'm not going to pursue this rose hard. So Faith and Kim are the ones who are kind of pursuing a little relationship. They're both from Washington State and they have things that they are intrigued by in each other. She's looking for a long-term partner with passion and drive. And I think that there's someone right in front of her who has a passion and drive for both sailing and the arts.
So true.
But he's also considering Nancy, who was on his short list, and they both lost their spouses. So, I mean, need we say more? Like,
it's the Goldens, guys. I mean, that is just something that Goldens be loving to bond over.
Yeah.
It's the main, the main foundation for so many golden relationships.
Yeah. It's it's funny to see him put it out there as like, the thing about Nancy is we both went through the same painful thing. So, I mean, that's basically enough for a relationship. They do discuss it, and it's a very touching conversation that I ultimately found very inspiring. He tells her that when his wife died, she said she wasn't sad to die because she'd had too much joy in her life to end it being sad.
Oh my God.
This
moment was actually, I feel like the first time that we got to see a side of Kim that I found really sincere and like interesting. It didn't feel like he was performing or being like uncomfortably close to women who didn't want him there. I just truly hearing about his life, and like it was very, very moving.
Yeah,
I agree.
It seems like Nancy and Faith are both genuinely interested in these conversations. But he's at sea now. He's like, I don't know what decision. He's at sea. our captain. He's like, I don't know when the decision is going to be made. I wish it was already made. It's like he's talking about a decision someone else is making.
It's very passive voice.
It's almost as if sometimes the story editors may wink wink tip for hand at the plot lines of these relationships.
Every now and then. So Kat and Dale discuss how she's only kissed Dale and only given him her rose. And Dale laughs happily and is like, I've only given you my rose. And I've kissed some other people.
This moment, oh my God.
It seems like Kat is sort of lightly being like, remember who brought you here? Like, I've been so loyal. Isn't it funny how loyal I've been to you this whole time?
So loyal that I haven't even kissed another man.
Yeah. You've kissed some other people, and that's fine. That's great, actually. But we've had like really consistency with each other, and that's what matters, right? Like, if you were to give a rose to Alicia, that would really ruin everything.
Yeah, like I'll forgive you those couple, but let's not forget. I just think it's so funny that for me, it's always been you. I just think that's so funny.
It's so crazy when you really think about it. Why don't you think about it some more?
So he says the one thing missing in their relationship is that she's holding back pieces of her that are so important to moving forward. And he asks why it's hard for her to open up about these things. And Kat says she spent a lot of her life hiding, and that's why his comment about upbringings and their upbringings being different really struck a nerve. And he says nothing she shares could make him judge her, which is what you say when you're like, when you really want them to tell you. Like,
correct.
Are you sure there isn't something she could say that would make you judge her?
Okay, this really started to frustrate me because I was like, neither of you are sharing anything.
Right.
You're just talking about how great it is to share, and those comments struck a nerve. I'm like, what are your upbringings?
No, that is like,
what are the things that you are holding back? I'm so annoyed.
That's a classic Bachelor conversation, is talking about the conversations that are so important to have.
Yeah, it's like when the two AIs in Silicon Valley started talking to each other. It's like, you guys have a lot to say, but you're not actually saying anything. Which,
yeah, there is no substance, but there are a lot of words.
Well, she doesn't want to open up. So, like, she's sort of explaining why she doesn't want to open up. And he's like, okay, well, this is a problem because I have a new hottie who looks actually kind of exactly like Kat, as it turns out. She's like a new upgraded model who's willing to open up. She has new openness features.
What do you think she will be opening up about? Who can say? We never find out.
Well, she's
ready.
She opened up about growing up on a farm with horses and wanting to be a mom.
That's so vulnerable. You're so right.
That's what she has. Like, is that wrong? And so it really comes through that he's like trying to convince Kat by any means necessary to open up, to justify giving her the rose over someone who's more open. Sort of the way that last week Kat was like, I need him to give me this exact kind of response so I can justify moving forward with him. And just like Kat, he's not going to get what he wants, and he's going to move forward with her anyway. They're always like using the rose, like you have
this reason. Like, I feel like they're kind of on equal ground here.
Yeah, well, they're both doing the thing where they're like using the rose ceremony as like leverage to get what they want out of the relationship, to get them to say the right thing, and then it doesn't work, and they're like, well, what are you gonna do? Like, I'm still in this relationship. So
yeah, they're like, at the end of the day, I still do like you best, I think.
Yeah, there are certain things about your specific physique that like are just a little bit more my type.
Yeah, like we're both about as hot and untrustworthy as each other, and we both want to both be here. So
exactly,
yeah. Alicia is watching, and she is in a pretty good position because of Jill going home and because of Jonathon getting April's rose. There are like no young people going home this rose ceremony. And so she could get a rose from Sean, who has been so validating of her this whole time, which she loves. But also maybe Dale will want to give her a rose, which would be nice too. She'd really be on board with that. So she's kind of just waiting to see where the chips fall. This brings us to the rose ceremony, and it plays out in like highly predictable fashion because, again, no young people are going home. and everyone makes the safe choice. So Brian
I
gives
was
his
happy
rose.
that they like really sped their way through this rose ceremony.
Yeah.
They didn't make us sit through every single one. They were just like, okay, flash,
At
flash,
a certain
flash.
point, they were like, instead of showing him offering the rose, we'll show them kissing after. And so it's
Yeah.
just a montage of people kissing with a rose between them. At some point, the rose became like de rigueur, like you have to kiss after you get it. Thanks, Spencer and Jess. Brian and Parisa exchange the rose, then Andrew and Alex. He asks her in French by saying,
Oh boy.
well, he doesn't ask her in French. He tries to ask her in French, and what he says is, "Vous tu fondle ma rose?" And like, I don't know what that is supposed to mean.
Alex is like, I think I understand what you were trying to say.
He says like you twice in different levels of formality. Like, I don't know what's happening.
We did get a little reminder that Jesse Palmer does speak French. He loves to remind us because he was like, what language was that?
And I know this was probably part of his broken French, but it kind of sounded like he was using the English fondle my rose.
I think that that's actually, I'm even looking it up. I'm like, I don't think that fondle is a verb in French the way that it is in English. So it doesn't go well, but she does accept the rose nonetheless. Jeremy offers his rose to Bailey, Spencer to Jess, Dale to Kat, of course, Sean to Alicia, and Jonathon to Leia. This is all of the youngs sorted, and now we move on to Gary, the Bachelor, choosing between 4 women. So Keith gives his rose first to Kathy, which I'd been wondering what was going on with this relationship, and it becomes very clear with what he says here, because he offers it with this very heavily just friends coded speech about how her journey for love hasn't ended, as if he's not involved in it, really.
Yeah.
And then in the moment, he says that they're just really good friends who have grown closer. Let's see where it goes. But all signs pointing up. He's like the Jonathon of the Goldens. He's like, we're just friends, right? Wink. But we are
and
just
it's
friends.
unclear whether Kathy realizes it, but they don't make it a thing. So maybe she is aware. I don't know.
Maybe she just doesn't know. And
Or
so
she just-
how could it be a thing?
Right. Well, I'm saying the show doesn't make it a plot line that she doesn't know, but it's unclear.
But yeah, this does seem to be a reoccurring theme this season of these guys who are like friend zoning themselves and thinking they're doing a favor, but actually being like really inconsiderate.
Yeah. Well, they're friend zoning the women.
Exactly. It's like a reverse
Without
friend
telling
zone.
them.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're like in a romantic relationship with the woman and you friend zoned her and she doesn't know. That's the
Exactly.
trend this
It's
season.
called secret friend zoning.
Silent friend zoning. Quiet friend zoning.
Fondant friend zoning.
Kim offers his rose to Faith and Gary gives his rose to Leslie. So going home are Nancy, Natasha, and April.
Devastating.
And all the men surround April in a group hug. So all of her flirting was not for nothing. She is beloved by the men. And all the women are like watching, like, that's our girl. But it's the men who are like hugging her. And she's like, I came here for love. I found love. I feel for the first time in a long time that I am loved.
Oh, April.
I love April.
Gary tells Natasha, goodbye, sweetheart, for now. Cut to her in the moment, rolling her eyes and being like, whatever.
She hates Gary. She hates him so much.
I would hate Gary. He made her love him. And she gave him her rose. And then he completely
I agree, but I still
maintain
maintain she shouldn't have done that because he literally took someone else on a date.
No, it was not wise.
Gary is too charming for his own good, I think.
Yeah. And like the other options were just not that great, I think, for the Golden Women.
This is the problem. The Golden Women,
yeah,
it wasn't it.
They're
Slim
struggling.
pickings. Yeah.
But I do think Natasha knew that there was a lesson to be drawn from how this played out because she says this was a crash course for her and she knows her companion is out there.
I believe it. And I believe it's definitely not one of these men. So I'm wishing Natasha all of the love and happiness she deserves.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough situation when Nancy comes in and every guy is basically dying to immediately marry her and she still doesn't get a rose. Like, the
Right.
conditions are rough for these women.
Yes.
I'm mad. I feel like the golden, especially golden ladies, got done dirty in
Yeah.
Paradise, and I am annoyed.
Yeah. And if the options were better, I don't think that April would have given Jonathon a rose, is the
I
thing. So
agree.
ultimately, it comes down to
And I'm just gonna
casting.
say, we didn't need Jonathon.
No.
She sees something in Jonathon that we just don't anymore because he's making me crazy.
He's like a bacteria in the water that everyone's
Yeah.
gonna get a pass with by the end of the vacation.
There was
Of-
something about, like, I kept seeing that preview or that recap moment of April being like, I see something in you that maybe no one else sees. And I was like, no, they see it. And then he friend zones them without
Right.
telling them. It's not like they're victimizing him. So Jesse is not done after everyone leaves because there's a little bit more information for him to share.
Everything is changing.
He says they're raising the stakes. He's like, I told you everything is going to change, and this is when it does. There will be no more new arrivals. You can see, like, the people who are, like, good enough for this week, like, the panic passing over.
Oh my, honestly, this is one of somehow both my favorite and least favorite thing about this twist. Like,
Yeah.
least favorite in the sense that I like to see people find actual relationships they want to be in, and there are no more options at all the whole season now. But my favorite, because you see everyone who wants to leave their partner try to do like the mental gymnastics to figure out how to justify definitely staying with them, and it's not just for the money.
Right, because there were already a couple that I felt like were hanging on by a thread that were just sticking around to stick around, and this really upped the ante for those folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people, like, even some of the solid relationships are on the brink right now. I'm thinking of, like, Brian and Parisa and Dale and Kat. And
It's
then we
rough.
have these new couples that don't really seem into each other, like Dale or like Sean and Alicia and Jonathon and Leia. And then we have like two couples where you're like, they could go the distance
Yeah.
Yes.
out of this like whole group. So he tells them that the exercises will become relationship tests, and sometimes there will be winners that need to make pivotal decision. Sometimes there will be losers who won't have roses to hand out. And that then the strongest and most deserving couples will face a life-changing opportunity.
Dun, dun,
Then
dun.
the camera cuts away from his face, and in a completely different sounding voice and room tone, he says, the possibility of leaving paradise with up to, and then we cut back to him in the moment saying $500,000. And I'm like, wait, what did he promise them that they had to walk back in the pickups
ADR.
later?
Oh my God. There is so much Jesse ADR in this episode. And I'm like, guys, you gotta match it a little bit better. You gotta massage
Please.
it. It's so obvious.
What was that like emergency all hands on deck legal meeting in Costa Rica? Like, all right, we got to get the sound
Maybe
guys in
he
here.
just said like $500,000, but there's clearly an element of like a couple splitting the money.
Yeah.
So it is up to.
I mean, it's just,
I don't know.
yeah, it's just so obvious that they cut away to add something. And so we're left with this question. It really is giving it a lot of moments like the George Steinbrenner in Seinfeld. Like, you see that the back of his head is there and a voice is speaking, but it's like, why can't we see his face? What's going on here? So everyone is shocked. This is life-changing, and they're all ready to devote themselves to their current partners. Alicia, in her in the moment, says, I think this could corrupt some of the relationships. I'm ready to see the phony ones start ripping apart at the seams. Like yours, maybe?
Right.
Because you're not even really into Sean, so I assume she's talking about Dale and Kat, since that's the one relationship that she seems to have it out for.
I guess so.
I guess we'll find out. But on that note, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we will see how the promise of the possibility of up to $500,000 changes the game.
And we are back. And the next morning, all of the young men are preparing for these big challenges by working out. Leia gives a little in the moment where she's like, it's testosterone beach.
When she said that, I really got what the vibe was like on that beach.
It made me really endeared to Leia.
Yes.
I'm enjoying Leia's sense of humor. I think it works actually better in Paradise than it did sometimes on Joey's season.
Agree.
There's also just, I've never seen this happen on, say, like a Netflix show, even though cash prizes do come up, that all of a sudden the men are like, I'm a man. Like, I gotta pump some iron. Like,
They're like,
the gender
money,
performance of
money,
it is,
I gotta get jacked. Resistance training, all the resistance bands.
like, I'm like, is it the Bachelor, like, casting or the Bachelor setting in particular that brings out this level of, like, really almost cartoonish gender performance among the men, that they're like, competition means that I have to be visibly getting buff like immediately, like I need to intimidate them with my physique?
Or is it just like there is less of a culture of working out in general on Bachelor? Because I feel like on Love Island the men are just like doing this every day, but
these guys
not
have
in
to be
response
working
to
out.
competition.
Look
I
at
would be.
Jeremy's body. He is not
Yeah.
skipping a month of weightlifting.
And they're not wearing
True.
shirts. I don't think any of them packed shirts.
No, you don't. Yeah, no, like only for rose ceremonies because that's formal time.
Yeah.
And they can be like up to halfway unbuttoned.
Yeah. What, are you gonna waste suitcase space on like a little workout mesh?
No, you're gonna
top?
pack your resistance bands.
So
okay?
much less fabric than a whole ass polo shirt. Yeah.
It's not worth it. It's not worth the square inches. Jeremy says that money could change anyone's life, which is false. Some people are already insanely wealthy. Like, you're telling me that $500,000 would change Elon Musk's life? Like,
No.
$500,000 is basically fictional to him. Like, it doesn't
Elon
exist.
Musk would light $500,000 literally on fire for fun.
And it
I'm
wouldn't
sure
change
he
his
has.
net
And
worth.
it would be, it would mean nothing. It
probably
means
has.
nothing to him.
Oh, but now I'm thinking about Elon Musk on the beach, which is not worth $500,000.
No, thank you. No.
He does seem
I would
like he would-
pay $500,000 not to see Elon Musk on a reality show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although that makes me think that Elon Musk's, like, sorry to suddenly be talking about Elon Musk in this setting, but like Elon Musk and like his whole like obsession with becoming like sort of this buff looking alpha male, Mark Zuckerberg,
You mean his
also,
gender affirming care?
Right.
Yes, like I think that they're like when I see the men all suddenly start trying to pump iron, it makes me think about how ascendant that urge is in pop culture right now and in culture at large, and how like conservative coded it is. And it's so off-putting to me, like the sudden urge to be like, I'm a man and I'm like buff, like Vladimir Putin.
I'm a
like-
man. Here are all my veins. They will all be on display. Like, put those away.
Please.
I don't need to see them.
And for the love of God, sir, learn how to get a decent spray tan. I mean, it's not, that's the hack.
That's the
So
biohack.
true. Kim is just talking about how money is no motivation because he's pure of heart and he's here to find love.
What I'm hearing is that Kim has enough money that $500,000
Kim is like,
would not
I'm
be
retired and
life-changing.
very wealthy.
He says that he just really came here to find love, and that's what he's focused on. So he and Faith are talking about how she actually did also suffer a loss around her marriage. She says she didn't grieve her marriage after her divorce. She just threw herself into work. But then when her ex-husband died about a year before she went on Golden Bachelor, it all hit her what she had lost. And it's clearly very emotional for her. And so they're really like going deep. Most of the couples are doing trivia because they need to maximize their time together by learning as many fun facts as possible. I'm like, Brian, you should have been listening when Parisa wanted to talk about favorite colors. You could have already had that one in your back pocket.
You could have gotten at least one answer correct in this challenge.
I also love how much in Bachelor Nation in general, someone's favorite color is considered like a very intimate question.
I mean, that is true. Like, it's just like in that moment, I was like, Brian is for once right that asking about a favorite color is juvenile and silly.
Yeah.
But there's no reason to be mean about it, you
No,
know?
no, no,
No,
no.
he's
And
just a dick.
He's
Is
he's
the
a dick.
problem.
Brian's such a. I mean, Parisa. Like I think I felt like I'm watching her in a horror movie for several episodes now. Like I
Yes.
know
Yes.
that haircut, Brian. I know what you're about to do. Yeah, and it's also like, yeah, it's a childish question to ask someone's favorite color, but like you've seen the show. People have asked a favorite color on Bachelor shows before.
Also, like, you,
And
like,
it takes,
again,
like,
you
2
could
seconds
just
to
fucking
answer.
answer it.
Right.
Yeah. You can answer with a joke. You can be like, I love all the colors equally. Like, I don't care. But like it takes 2 seconds to answer, and it takes a week to deal with the fallout of the tantrum you threw over being asked that question. So they're all going over like middle names, children's names, favorite foods and colors. Faith is memorizing a list of names from Kim. Corey, Casey, Christina, and Christy. And I was like, I'm sorry, did he name his daughters Christina and Christy? No.
Oh my God.
He did
I
not?
looked it up.
Oh, thank
One
God.
of them is his late wife's daughter, and one of them is his.
Oh,
So they
okay.
both
Okay.
named their daughters some variant of Christina.
Okay, I was very nervous that there were.
I mean, that's the
Yeah.
same name.
Yeah, I was
right?
like, that is just the same name.
Yeah.
But okay. Okay.
And especially because
Makes
his
more
name is
sense.
Kim, it's like, was this like a Kardashian thing where you guys all had to have the "ka" sound?
I was
Like,
having the same thought.
I mean, and then he met his wife, and he was like, her daughter fits right in. It's
Aw.
perfect. So Spencer is really stressed because he's like, people aren't going to vote for us if there is a vote elimination because we're the strongest couple. And Jess is like, don't worry. I think it's going to be psychological, like communication and listening. Guys, it's going to be all of the above. It's going to be every kind of challenge. You guys need to watch more Netflix. Parisa and Brian are still on the rocks, and he doesn't seem to fully understand this, but he's like,
Nor
she
does he
seems
care.
a little...
and perhaps more importantly, nor does he care. Yeah.
Perhaps, yeah. But, you know, she comes over, she sleeps in, she comes over after breakfast and compliments his manscaping. But she seems off. In the moment, she says the night before it didn't end well. Her Chiron is known to overthink things. And for once, I really want the Chiron to shut up because she is not overthinking things. She's reacting to Brian undermining her and being a dick.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
We see a scene of them in bed the night before, and she is clearly crying and telling him she's frustrated because she gave up a month of her job for this. She doesn't know what's going on with them. She's really frustrated. And Brian just sounds super annoyed and keeps being like, frustrated with what?
He is the most, like, I was going to say frustrating, the most frustrating person, it seems, to communicate with. It makes me so angry watching this footage. Although I will say, thank you for your service with those cameras in the rooms.
This is just so sad. It really is like watching her in a horror movie. She keeps trying to like talk herself into working the
Mhm.
relationship out, but there's a part of her that just feels like really uncomfortable and unhappy in the relationship now.
And now
And
she's trapped.
She's
Exactly.
trapped.
Like it feels like more than almost any other couple, like this burden of the cash prize, like really screwed Parisa over. Because I think we could have seen her leave or possibly go with a different guy, but now I think she doesn't have many options.
No, I think they're going to be in there until they get kicked off as a couple.
Yeah.
Like,
and they were really like flying, like having so much fun until the VIP suite. But what she's learned is that when there is some sort of rupture, he does not care about her feelings. He is not interested in communicating through the issue. And she's just going to keep being like stuck in that place of feeling hurt and unheard and frustrated forever because he's not going to be a partner in getting through that issue. So now she's just like stuck here. And she's like, this seems like such a fun like switch up with the games and it's so nice, but like this is my partner. So
womp womp.
Yeah.
Wells comes out and offers all the couples small boxes with what turns out to be poker chips inside that look like they're like coasters with poker chips printed on them.
Yeah, like poker chips for kindergartners.
Yeah.
Poker chips that aren't choking hazards.
Yeah.
I want to make sure you can't swallow this. And a letter inside tells them that it's time for their first relationship test. And they have to meet Jesse for the test. You can bet on me being there, it says. And what was it? Like, Kat, who's like, what does that mean? And Dale's like, it's going to be like gambling.
Cat.
It's a pun. Jesse greets them from behind a table, the dealer's table, and he's like, would you bet on how well you know your partner? The game is called High Low, What Do You Know? They will be asked questions about their partners that can be answered with a single number. This was so hard for me to understand from how he explained it, but then once I started playing, it becomes clear very quickly. Basically, there's a couple. One partner stands back. They have been asked a question off camera and given a number in response. Their partner has to bet on whether the number that Jesse offers them as the answer is higher or lower than their partner's actual answer. And then they can bet a certain number of their chips on that.
Great job, Claire. Thank you for
Probably
that
just as
succinct
bad
explanation.
as Jesse.
No, we could have used that script.
If they get it right, then they get the same number of chips back. If they're wrong, they lose their chips, kind of like gambling. And so the bottom 3 couples will not have a rose to hand out. The winner will get a one-on-one date, and the woman from the winning couple, because it's the women's turn to have the power, will choose who gets the final 2 roses. So only one couple will ultimately be eliminated. Jesse's like, I told you things were getting serious, and I meant it. I'm like, this is not serious. This is ridiculous.
In fact, deeply unserious. So they get into the game, and Jeremy is asked about the number of unread text messages Bailey has. They say 850, and he puts 3 chips on high, and is correct because she has more than 850 unread text messages.
Yeah, so they're asked a lot of these, like, sort of questions where I'm like, a lot of these sound like kind of made up, or like Faith apparently spends less than $25 a month on beauty.
Yeah, I would like. Do you guys think that she was counting everything that actually is beauty in that budget?
Well, that's the thing. It's
I
like,
was
if
like,
I'm
what
Kim,
about-
I'm like, what's going into that number?
Right.
Because I would be thinking like your shampoo and conditioner
Yeah.
are beauty.
Are you
Face
averaging
wash.
out what you spend on
Right.
it based on face
Like
wash,
a razor.
moisturizer, razor, makeup?
Do you own
know?
tweezers? Yeah, like
Maybe she really spends less than $25 on beauty, but that's a hard number for me to calculate about myself. 'Cause
exactly.
There's a lot that could go into it. And so a lot of people seem to know a lot about their partners. They're asked about minimum acceptable incomes, the best retirement age. And then, like, also for the women, a lot of questions that struck me as really offensive, or at least annoying, like, how many times has she faked an orgasm? How many cosmetic procedures has she had?
How many people has she slept with?
Yeah. And it's framed as body count also, which I find in itself disgusting and misogynistic.
Also, real rough to hear Jesse deliver that. And you're like, Jesse, that.
Yeah, you've got like a
Yeah.
middle-aged man asking about the body count of a like 20-something woman.
And maybe they asked that of some of the men, but we just didn't see it. But the way the final product, it was like in conjunction with that and the plastic surgery questions, it did feel like the women were getting like more pointed questions about their body and
Yeah.
their sex history.
I think they ask about, like, we see the question like, how many times has a man had sex in a single day?
Okay,
But
yeah. And what
that's
does he say?
not
5?
that's not as loaded of a question.
No.
Like, you could have sex many times in one day with your serious partner, and no one would see that as
They
meaning
also do
anything about
this
you.
kind of thing on Love Island, which first
Which
of
I
all
also
does
hate.
contain a lot of misogyny, but at least it's equal opportunity. Like everyone has to be involved.
Right. Even if they're asking these questions of the men, it seems still significant that they chose to air questions about like body count
100%.
when it's
Exactly.
women. So Brian says that people are going conservative in their bets, but he's not a conservative gambler. I was like, shocker. No one on this show has ever seemed more like someone who probably has a gambling problem than Brian.
Like you can just picture him with a vape pen and sunglasses in Vegas at 9 a.m.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm
like-
walking the other way if I see that man anywhere near me in
Exactly.
Vegas.
This man's most used app is like FanDuel. You know, like he is probably not conservatively gambling all the time. And he's asked how much Parisa is willing to spend on a wedding, compared to the number $56,000. He doesn't even know what a wedding costs, but he does choose to bet 3 chips on his answer, which is lower. Even though, you know, that's not that much for a wedding in this day and age. I mean,
Unfortunately not,
unfortunately.
especially in like a major city.
Yeah, so
Like that's
just
quite low.
so don't bet 3 chips on it. Like, what are you
That's
doing?
the problem, right? Because I think like a lot of people, man or woman, could be forgiven for not knowing how much a wedding costs until
Yes.
it's time for you to plan one. But
But then
one
if you
chip.
don't know,
One
if you
Right.
definitely don't know the answer, don't bet a lot.
And then he bets that she wants an engagement ring that's over $18,000, which is still quite expensive for an engagement
Yeah, he's like,
ring.
weddings, super cheap. Engagement rings, you have to spend all your money on.
Yeah,
Like,
well, you can't afford a wedding once you've bought the engagement ring.
because you're buying like a
Understandable.
$40,000 engagement ring minimum.
Yeah. Parisa is asked the percentage of breakups that he's had that he thinks are his fault, and is offered 30% as the anchor number. And she does a lot of mental math before betting 1 chip on lower. She is wrong. However, at least she thought about it and was careful with her bet. The problem is they're running out of chips because he is taking big swings and they're getting every question wrong.
He's bad at gambling and women.
Yeah, and he doesn't know anything about her and she doesn't know anything about him. Like, maybe they should have like had a stupid conversation getting to know each other.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda, Brian.
So as they head into the final round, we have Dale and Kat, Jeremy and Bailey, and Gary and Leslie who are winning. They're all tied up at 18 points. Brian and Parisa are fully at the bottom, and Kim and Faith are close to the bottom as well because, you know, as Faith points out, they've had like 3 hours to talk at all.
So Jeremy is up for their last question, and he is asked about the most Bailey has spent on a gift for her partner, and he bets everything on the final question.
Bold.
And he is right. So he doubles their score because they were already leading. This means that no one can beat them because he gambled the most that they could gamble. Their score is now like the best you could do is to tie them.
So the smart
Remember
thing,
that.
the smart thing to do if you're then doing pretty well is to bet as conservatively as possible so that you are
Yeah.
guaranteed to not be in the bottom 3. Just worth noting.
That's
The
true.
two things
Yeah.
you could do, you could try to tie him and see what the options are for a deal breaker. So you bet everything or you bet 1 chip because there's no
Yeah.
prize for second place.
Yeah, and it's not real money. So
It's not money.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't get that money. You just need to stay in the game so you can maybe get the actual money.
Yeah. So Dale gets this. He probably spent some time on FanDuel Casino as well. So he bets just 1 chip on how much Kat expects to be spent on her for her birthday. But Kat is thrilled because he is correct and they have gotten every question right. Gary is asked how often Leslie thinks a couple should have sex every week. Anchored to 5 times.
Okay. First of all, refuses to do basic math and makes them vulnerable, whether or not he was going to get this right. Second of all, he bets all those chips on higher.
More
I'm
than
like,
5. He thinks that she
in
thinks
a
a couple should have
relationship?
sex more
And
than
you're
5
in your
times a week.
60s.
And yeah, these are Goldens, and you think that Leslie, and I get it, Leslie seems like a spicy pepper, but you think she's only taking 1 day off a week?
Yeah, I'm sorry. When
The Lord's
this is not like in the first weeks of a relationship. They're saying like in a relationship, in like a long-term relationship.
Listen, some people and people of all ages might want to have sex more than 5 times a week in their relationship. But it's not like
Right.
the most likely.
Well,
like
that's what
unless
I'm
Leslie has said to
saying.
you, I believe in sex every single day. No. Not even a day to
Exceptions.
rest. The Lord may have rested for a day, but I do not. Like, that's how I feel. Otherwise, the safe bet is she
Is to
probably
go a
said
little
3,
lower.
right? Yeah.
That's such a good
Right.
point. Like,
That's the thing. I'm not saying it's like impossible, but if you're betting
We're talking averages here.
And yeah, don't you think
can't.
that would have come up if she
Right.
needs that much sex? Exactly. And it is. It's like what I love about this is this is the FanDuel experience. This is every woman whose boyfriend has just downloaded the app and all of a sudden thinks there's some kind of a fucking whale or sharpshooter or whatever the phrase is. And you're just like, wow, we could be going out to a nice dinner and instead you're going to just lose your shirt over the Colts or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you don't even watch
see...
the Colts. You don't even care. Like...
You can see Leslie standing behind Gary just immediately like head in her hands. And I was like, oh no, he's wrong. He's wrong. He's obviously wrong. They're going to go home now.
And
she looked so unhappy.
And he bet half their stack on this. Half. Again.
Even if he won, there would be no benefit.
Or everything. Even if he won, no benefit. But it does put them in range to be in the bottom 3.
I was
for no reason.
Mad on Leslie's behalf.
Same. And again, it would have been infuriating if they were in the middle and he did this. But they were in the top 3.
They were like winning.
They were doing great. And he threw it all away. Like every advantage from them actually knowing each other, gone. I feel like he wanted to do a little bit of like get some of that glow that Jeremy got from being confident. But he was like, but I'm not going to be crazy and bet the whole stack. And it's like, no, you stop and do the math on what will happen.
And all the chirons, everyone's chirons are just like, does basic math. Also did basic math.
Yeah.
Definitely knows how to count.
Alex and Sean are in the moments being like, why would you do this? Like, this was the most unstrategic move he possibly could have made. So Jeremy and Bailey win, and Bailey is so thrilled. She's like, there's nothing sexier than a man that listens. And I was like, what about a man that doesn't want to trade you in for a woman he spoke to for 15 minutes? That's even sexier to
She
me.
doesn't know that yet.
She doesn't know that yet. And that makes me angry all the time, every day when I'm watching this show. Gary and Leslie, Brian and Parisa, and Kim and Faith have lost their roses. And Bailey will get to choose who gets the roses.
This really like depressed me. It's just another, it feels like the Goldens are just at such a disadvantage in this whole game.
I know. And I also didn't like that it was like, oh, a woman has to choose which I know it's the whole couple that's going, but it was like that element of it all of a sudden being like somebody who really doesn't have to do with these couples is choosing who goes home or not. I felt for Bailey.
Well, don't worry. Jeremy very quickly decides that it's actually his decision.
True.
And Bailey's not going to have to have that power.
I wish Bailey
got
a little more solo power.
Bailey was supposed to have the power. They're like, Bailey has the power. And Jeremy is like, Bailey and I have the power. But I'm really the one who makes the decisions in this couple. On that note, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll see how this whole situation plays out.
And we are back, and it's time for Jeremy and Bailey to head off for their romantic date. They toast to being the first couple to win a Bachelor in Paradise challenge. I like how they have to say that because Bachelor Pad was all challenges. And Jeremy seems to be very in love with power and competition and winning.
He's like, finally, this is my shit. Like the blood is pumping, the adrenaline's surging, like
the veins are popping.
Falling in love is like whatever, but winning a competition, that makes me happy. And Bailey's also really thrilled that they clearly know each other so well. She's like, I also like that the challenge got us to talk about questions that we never would have. I was sort of curious about how the timeline of this plays out, because why were they all quizzing each other right before this challenge? We know that they were asked off camera about their answers to these questions. Were they asked the questions and then they got to go kind of like exchange notes? Or was this all done before they even got there? Were they trying to remember what they had said like weeks ago, being like, this will probably be relevant soon?
Yeah, I wonder. Or were they sort of hinted, like they were sort of told by production, like, it's going to be some sort of quiz. You should get to know each other.
Right.
They had these conversations. Then they took them each individually off camera, like separately.
Because it does seem weird that anyone would get all of the questions right. Again, given how, like I said, confusing they would be in many cases to guess correctly, even if you know someone really well.
Yeah, but it is, I mean, some people just could get lucky. Like it is
And-
50% chance every time.
And like some of the questions were more obvious than others. Like again, obviously Gary got it wrong, but the like how many times a week are you gonna have sex? Like some of them were just like
Right,
what
it's
do
a
most
fairly
people
safe
want?
bet unless you're Gary.
Unless you're Gary. Yeah, but
Yeah.
like the birthday present one, it's like okay, $350 for a birthday. I don't know, like a lot of them work like and they're all 50-50.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Makes it
I don't think
even-
it's so crazy that they could
I
have.
think it's surprising that several couples seem to get all of them right.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I wonder maybe if they did the
50-50
questionnaire
versus all of them is like a big disparity.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get the sense that they had some like chance to specifically prepare for this, but it's not really like made clear in the edit.
Yeah, it's clear that at least they were like told to ask each other certain kinds of questions because we saw them like literally
Right.
having conversations.
So she's like, I love that this got us to talk about questions we never would have. And he's like, yeah, like how much I should spend on an engagement ring. And she's like, that's a question for later. And he tells her that her last date did get him nervous. The after effects of this are still like rocking him to his core, even though he also went on a date like one day before this. I'm like, Jeremy, you've got to move on. Like,
Also,
you're
I'm like
holding
in the
this over
world
her
of in the
head.
world of the show or like in our I'm like this has been over for so long.
So long.
Move past it, dude.
But really they
The
just had like
extended-
dinner and breakfast. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand that time moves differently for us. But
if that's
I'm
the
over
case,
it.
then like why has she been able to move on from the date that he had like one day before hers? Like the extended meltdown he's been having about her getting to go on another date has like poisoned the whole relationship and she doesn't even know it. Like this is like the hint that we get that he's like, that made me really nervous. And she's like, well, but after that I just wanted to see you. And I was even willing to risk you not wanting to be with me the next week because that's how much I value being with you. And in the moment, he says there have been ups and downs in his feelings for Bailey, but it's always been strong and he feels like he's in a good place to move forward with her. So I guess this is like the reassurance that he is needing right now that maybe
I mean, I think he does like Bailey.
Yeah.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
Bailey says she really likes him and he says he really likes her too. And she says, I would hope so. And she says it's nice to be away from everyone, and he agrees and says, I really don't like the Goldens. So annoying. They keep going on monologues.
Okay, Claire and I were discussing this before. We genuinely could not tell whether Jeremy was joking here.
Do you think he was
Same.
joking?
My first read on it when I watched it was that he was joking, but
When I rewatched it, I was like, his tone is very serious, but Jeremy is kind of deadpan. I was like, either this is like oddly mean or he's joking and they cut off the second half of his sentence. I don't know.
Well, and then they did do that supercut to, I think it's Gary, right? Monologuing. They do show.
Oh, yes.
So maybe that
yes.
was like they did cut it just because they had this funny like edit to make. But I haven't seen Jeremy like chummy with any of the Goldens to where that would seem like a joke that would be like organic to their friendship.
Exactly. I was like, maybe Jeremy really does hate the Goldens. I don't know.
It's just mean though.
It is mean.
It does seem mean. And Bailey sort of responds in a way that also left it kind of vague to me. She's like, oh, stop it.
She's like,
But,
oh, stop.
But she's not laughing so hard. Like, we all know that's a joke because you love the Goldens. Like, she's more
Right.
like, stop.
But we do, as you pointed out, get a very funny cutaway to Gary giving a little monologue to Keith. We have a clip.
I want to be in this. I want to come back as the comeback kid and have the victory and smile and be happy and inspire and motivate and help people.
Well,
But I got to help myself first.
and I don't know what that means. You know, only you can go home tonight and look in the mirror and do it. Okay?
All right.
Okay,
Keith
what
is
is
like,
incredible about this is
what?
that Keith is like, I don't like the Goldens. They keep going on monologues. It's so annoying. Like, he is like, Gary, please stop. I have to go.
Keith is just like, that was word salad, Gary. I literally don't know what you're talking about. It
Yeah,
did
he's
really endear me to Keith in this
Yeah.
moment.
He's like, go sort that out for yourself, okay? All right, we good? All right, bye.
I need to go talk shit with Kathy over at the bar so that Kathy can tell me again how much she thinks Faith is not into Captain Kim.
So Jeremy and Bailey on the date are talking about how getting to know each other is deepening their connection. She says she's very loyal, and he says he wears his heart on his sleeve, and if he likes someone, they'll know it. And I was like, what if you don't like someone? What if you like someone, but you really would rather be with someone else? Will they know that? Or is that part of your heart kept a little bit more like underneath your lapel? Because I feel like there are some things that Bailey needs to know, Jonathon, or Jeremy. Oh my God. I keep mixing up their names.
It's a lot of J's. I know. It's almost like he thinks only wearing his heart on his sleeve only when you're saying good things, like not the hard things or the uncomfortable conversations.
No, then your heart is wrapped far, far away, tucked into a little package, put in a safe, floating out at sea.
You know, he and Brian should actually kind of exchange notes a little bit, exchange some parts of their personality and meet in the middle, because Brian only says the negative things that he feels about someone.
Yeah.
And Jeremy only says the positive things. And
maybe we can combine them.
Yeah, we need
Guys,
to combine them to create
both.
the perfect muscle-bound man who loves to gamble. So they agree that they want someone who wants to grow together, and they make out. The date ends with fireworks, and Bailey says that this is the best first date she's ever had.
Back at the resort, Brian is worried about Parisa, mostly about the fact that she got visibly upset at him in a public setting.
Yeah, he's
And
worried that Parisa is not behaving the way that he wants.
Exactly. So they go to chat, and Parisa admits that she did feel upset because she saw like how far along everyone else was in their relationships. But she's not going to compare. She never compares. She doesn't do it. She's definitely not doing it right now.
She is comparing, but she's just gesturing at the comparison because she would never actually compare.
She would never.
And it's not like there were stacks of chips showing with exact numbers how much less you guys knew each other than everyone else in front of everybody else.
Exactly. There'd be no reason to compare. And Brian goes into this conversation like visibly and vocally annoyed.
Yeah. He's like, well, what do you want to talk about? Like, what are we doing here?
I always feel so open and at ease when someone snaps at me and is like, what do you even want to talk about? Just say it.
That's how you know the walls come down, when they scoff at you.
Oh,
and it's like, Brian, your haircut is too stupid to be making comments like this.
You should feel lucky that this Victoria's Secret model wants to have a conversation with you at all. But it actually doesn't matter whether she's bringing up something juvenile and silly like favorite colors or something serious like whether you guys are really progressing in your relationship. You don't want to hear what she has to say. You don't want to talk about what she wants to talk about. Like, that is actually kind of a huge fucking problem for your relationship. And she's clearly worried about upsetting him. So she's like dancing around it. She's like, I'm trying to say it the right way. And he's like, just say it. But then instead he starts saying it being everything that annoys him about her. And he doesn't seem worried about framing things gently at all. I think we have a clip of this.
Like, I think you're stressing it.
So you think I am?
I really do. And I think we should stop talking about it. I've had past partners that overly seek for reassurance to the point where it's driven me away.
Okay.
I personally do not need to be verbally reassured. And I think sometimes you over-communicate. Where you can, like, hold things in a little more. I love it, but, like, sometimes you overload me with compliments.
You really look so handsome. You have nice cheekbones, by the way. You smell good. Yeah, you tan so well. Where have you been my whole life? Your skin is amazing.
Stop it. But it's like, don't dump it all at once.
Okay.
Because, like, there's, like, a smothering aspect
With the compliments.
to it
Okay, thank you.
that will turn me off.
Okay. Thank you.
With the compliments.
With the compliments. Too many compliments.
That
I think that's
is-
the main problem in their relationship is that she gives too many compliments to him.
She shouldn't like how he smells.
is like, I love it. I love how you communicate. But maybe take those emotions, wrap them in a bow, tamp them way down.
Yeah,
Tamp them way down.
Crush them down.
Crush
Deep
them, crush
inside.
them, never see them again. Because if you don't, I'm just not going to be into you anymore. Because
I might
that's just what
leave.
you need to know about me and all of the women I've dated.
Be
I was like,
afraid.
Brian, I feel
Be very
so
afraid.
bad for every woman that has ever liked you. Also, I need to talk to them because why? Why did they like you?
Because he has that little he's just. I can see why people get tricked by Brian. There's a lot of Brians in
Can
this
you?
world.
I'm searching for it.
He's just attractive enough, even though he does have that stupid haircut. And he's just like, I guess I see him looking up from the DraftKings just long enough to trick a woman.
Yeah.
But
He takes a break for like 2 hours to
Well,
be
he's
really
confident.
charming.
He's
He's
confident. He's the
confident.
life of the party.
Yeah,
Like, I do
the
see
bar
all
is
of
Sure.
that low for men. And also,
Yeah, that's fair. The bar is really low.
this weaponizing of communication as something that's triggering to him is just next level ninja behavior.
Yeah. No, it's like, please, you just need to repress your emotions more. Like, are you hearing yourself? Like, do you realize what you sound like? Like, there is, there can be room for, balancing your communication styles and finding the appropriate times to talk things through. Or like, we're not finding resolution the way that we're talking things through, so something has to change. But he's literally like, sometimes just keep it to yourself. Like,
Yeah, he's
what
like,
do you
stop
mean?
bothering me. Stop bothering me with your feelings. Your feelings really
Yeah,
annoy me, and I'm
they're
not going to
annoying.
like you anymore. And then, you know what, like, is going to be the effect of that? She's going to have even more feelings that she's going to try to
Right.
tamp down and therefore get more anxious because she is suppressing those feelings. It's like,
Yeah. This is just like an elevated version of stop crying.
exactly.
Stop it. What do
I
you
don't
have
like
to
how
cry
it makes
about?
me feel. You're making
Yeah.
me feel bad when you cry.
I'll give you something to cry about. I
Yeah.
won't like you anymore. I mean,
Ugh.
and there's a weird way in which some of this, like, I was like, I'm more of a Brian. Like, there have been times when I've definitely told my husband, like, I feel like when, like, I need a little bit more space, and like the level of like verbal affirmation is like a little much for me right now. But it's really odd to bring it up at a moment when she is feeling really upset and unsure about their relationship.
Yes.
Specifically, like, the
Yeah.
conversation started out as like, Parisa's not okay. What is her issue in the relationship? And then all of a sudden it turns into him piling on more criticism of her.
He also says, just say it, and then immediately says, we should stop talking about it.
Right.
And there is no space for her to say the thing that she actually feels. And then she's just left to say, like, oh, I am smothering and my compliments are bad and I should stop doing all of that and not speak to
Yeah.
you. Okay, yes, thank you.
Also funny
Thank you.
because she keeps being like, great, I got it. Thanks, I got it. But he keeps reiterating it. And I'm like,
He's
Brian,
like, I don't think
don't
you
over-communicate,
got
Brian.
it. I don't think
Don't
you got it.
over-communicate.
No.
Well,
And
he's
the lack of
allowed to
pushback
because
on
he's not
her
a girl.
part. Exactly.
He's
And
not
just-
expressing all those feelings, all those smothering compliments. He's just telling her what to do to not turn him off.
Yeah.
And that's a public service.
Yeah.
And then just her having to be like, thank you for that note. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
You know,
you.
it's really hard to be a man in this day and age because Cosmo used to do all this stuff for you. And now you have to
Right.
tell women directly what to do not to turn you off.
And this
Like,
is
that's really
why
hard.
women's media should have never gotten
Yeah.
more feminist.
It's put a lot of emotional labor on men, and they're busy. They're trying to see if they
No.
hit their parlays. In her in the moment, Parisa is in tears. She says she wants to be with someone, but she doesn't want to force it. She's like, I don't know how to move forward with this because what did I do? Nothing. He is making her feel crazy. Like, it's maddening to watch.
It's
I
really
know.
upsetting.
That I think because Parisa's in it, she's like in this really isolated situation with him. Again, I think the money has added all these stakes to it. Like it was broken and she's trying to cobble it together. But like having to watch her just kind of take it is pretty
Yeah.
difficult to watch because it feels like a pretty toxic at best kind of dynamic that they have, where she's really just being told to like stuff it and shut up and sit there and take it. And it's like,
It's brutal.
Right. And he is feels very empowered to like criticize her at will, to like pour on like insults and comments about how she's acting wrong. But if she has problems with him, then he's like, keep it to yourself, shut up. You very rarely see this dynamic on the beach, actually. Like, usually there's at least some give and take in these toxic dynamics. And it just seems like she is so cowed, like all of a sudden, so cowed, so confused. I don't think I've recently seen this exact dynamic unfold where the woman is just like, what did I do wrong? Like, why am I suddenly being treated this way? Why is there no way for me to express how I feel or like get back on track? Like, where am I? Like, what's happening? Like, it's so disorienting to her.
Oh, I just really felt for her as a Parisa, as a like inherently kind of like touchy, chatty, communicative person, which I acknowledge sometimes those things can be annoying, but to see her just beaten down, like all of her spirit being just drained away by this mediocre man, it's very painful.
There are ways to take some ownership if you're the Brian of your reactions to that. There are some ways to acknowledge that there is validity to her mode of communicating and to try to like communicate in an open way about that. And that's just not what we're seeing. Like, there's no reason for her to be treated this way just because she wanted to like ask him what his favorite color was. It's crazy.
It's unhinged. While all of this is going down, Kim is eating a dessert out of a martini glass, and he offers some to Faith, and she says, "Are you going to make me eat it out of your mouth?"
And
no, he's not, thank God.
Like he's going to eat it out of her mouth. This is the crazy thing, is that she's like, are you going to make me eat it out of your mouth? And he's like, no. And then without warning, he puts them in her mouth and then eats it from her mouth by kissing her. And I'm like, she just said she didn't want to do this.
This is such an intense makeout. And Keith and Kathy are just watching this in like abject horror.
To me, it was sort of like mingled horror and respect. Like, they were like, they're making out? No, they're really doing it. All right,
I think they respect the boldness, but they're horrified by the baby birding. And I think that's a valid reaction.
I think
Kathy and Keith are like the audience stand-in in so many ways.
Them and Wells. Yeah, like
I don't know. Wells does not speak for
Wells
me.
does not.
I'm sorry. No.
Okay. That's a horse of a different color. But I think it's like, how could you not like the Goldens? They don't have a damn to give.
I know.
They're so fun.
They're having fun. They're talking shit. They're making out. Like
if Faith says she doesn't want to eat a dessert out of your mouth, then you don't get to lean over the minute that it's in her mouth and lick it out from between her lips. Despite this, their relationship seems to be thriving. And now it's day 12. Alicia's doing yoga on the beach. The boys are doing beach resistance training. And the Goldens are stressing about being sent home. Like, they seem to understand, like, 2 of the 3 of them are on the chopping block, and the person with power is not one of their number. She's going to have loyalty to her friend Parisa, and they are going to be vulnerable. Kim and Faith are literally galloping down the beach, horse style, and Kim compares it to like Monty Python and the Holy Grail, which accurate. But for me, I was like, do you remember when there was like a viral old exercise video of a woman doing an exercise routine she called Prancercise?
Yes.
Do you remember Prancercise? I was like, did I dream this? And it was the whole, she would do these like zany videos of her galloping around like a horse as like a full body exercise.
You're like, was Kim watching the Prancercise videos before coming to the beach?
Yeah. That's how you stay in shape.
After this, Kim, his Chiron reads at full mast, is really feeling good about his connection with Faith. But have they built something strong enough to last outside of paradise if they get sent home? It has only been like maximum 36 hours, so I'm going to say probably not. Gary and Leslie are taking a beach walk, and Gary is trying so hard to cheer Leslie up after he just made her be eliminated for no reason. So he's like, I've got it. I'm going to draw some smiley faces in the sand around the word love.
And they are like smiley faces, like the kind that you doodled in 4th grade.
It's like,
I'm sorry. This combo of text and images
just
killed
love.
me.
The concept of love.
This should do it. Boom.
And smiley faces. Like love and smileys. I was like, it's so common to just do like your initials and a heart or like her name and hearts.
Love.
But no,
This is conceptual, Claire.
let's write out love instead of indicating that with hearts. But then to indicate how we feel about love, smiley faces.
And then you'll smile because I made a smiley face.
And Leslie is trying so hard. She's like, okay, that's sweet. She does laugh at this odd combination of text and an emoticon.
Yeah.
I don't know. And she tells the cameras that her feelings for Gary have surprised her. She doesn't elaborate on what those feelings are. We're left to wonder.
I think it's like a hard could. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I'd have to be imagining disappointment and frustration are high on the list.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
At this point, if you're Leslie, you're just so annoyed and you're trying so hard not to hold what is a fairly stupid mistake against your like kind-hearted partner.
But I feel like this is such a Gary thing to do, though. Like Gary's selling point is that he's so jovial, he's so cheery, he's so like in like bringing the good vibes. But it's not like shrewdness, you know? It's not like being so calculated.
No, it's not.
It's
You're
not at
so
all.
right, Claire.
So you're learning more about each other. Meanwhile, Bailey is still riding high on her great date with Jeremy and how like locked in they are. And she feels like their relationship could have legs after the show. But she's also really stressed because she has to send a couple home. And she wishes she could have someone more cutthroat do it. Like Jeremy. He'd probably love to do it.
Correct.
The good news is that Jeremy actually thinks he is going to do it already. You don't even have to ask him. He's like, I will be making this decision.
He's like, it's me. Bailey's the empathetic one. And I'm the cold-hearted asshole.
We all know women can't lead. That's why they have male partners. So, like,
to do the leading for them.
To do the leading, to make those tough decisions. To
That's
be the
why women
umbrella over
also
the households.
don't need to have the vote.
Exactly.
Just DraftKings our way into democracy.
Exactly.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
I'm always like, I wish that someone else could decide who to vote for because I feel so bad hurting the feelings of the person I'm not voting for. I'm like, Greg, can you just do it for me? And he's like, no, you have the vote. Like, I'm not allowed to do your vote. If you want that to happen, you have to petition the government to repeal the women's vote. I'm like, gosh darn those feminists. So cut to Jeremy, who is holding court with his bros, Dale, Sean, and Jonathon, to talk strategy. It's like you imagine them at the Red Sauce Italian joint. They're in the corner booth.
Yeah, they're like, bada bing, bada boom. Who should we off next?
Hits are being planned over baked ziti. Yeah.
Yeah, the cigars are missing, the ziti's missing, but the vibes are all there. And they agree that maybe Faith isn't that into Kim because she took a girl on her date. And I'm like, they do hate the Goldens. They don't even remember that Kim was like in the hospital.
Yeah,
She
Kim
had
was getting an
to.
EKG.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake.
She was going to take him.
Plus, how many girl guys have been on friend dates?
Yeah. Well, Jonathan's basically been on like 7 of them.
All of them.
Jonathan
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah,
even
I'm like,
know
why
how to
is
have
Jonathan still here? No one's questioning his validity.
I am.
Yeah, except us. We're doing the Lord's work.
Can we like somehow do a vote to vote Jonathan off, even though this happened several months ago? America votes. They wonder if it will be good to keep Gary and Leslie around as a weak link, I guess because his gameplay was just terrible. So clearly he's not really up for the competition. And they also agree that Brian and Parisa have something real and he just needs more time to open up.
Guys. See, this is why we can't give men the right to vote for us. Because they just are out here fundamentally misunderstanding Brian. They have so much empathy for Brian and not an ounce for like Faith.
And little
Or
do they
Gary,
know, Brian
apparently.
just had a whole thing where he was talking about how he hates opening up. And he hates, not only is he not going to, but he doesn't want anyone else to.
Right. I'm like, have you noticed that Parisa's looks like a kicked puppy all the time? You think that Brian needs to talk to her more?
Yeah, Brian just needs more time to verbally abuse Parisa.
He needs more time to break her spirit.
Yeah.
And he's worried. He's like, well, they could be competition. Maybe it would be strategic to send them home. I'm like, did you see how badly they did at this challenge? You think Gary's a weak link? What about Brian?
Yeah.
Brian was a disaster.
So right at this moment, Brian, his ears start tingling and he wanders over, and Jeremy is just riding high on his power. He's like needling Brian about how maybe Brian's going to get sent home tonight. And then on his way out, Jeremy might just throw some Corvette keys right at him. Payback for Jen's season.
Yeah. I love that there's still a part of him that's holding on to this. But Jeremy's like, it's not actually my decision. And all the guys are like, it is his decision,
It's
though.
definitely his. He's the one.
Pulling the
He's
strings.
pulling strings.
This is why we also can't have a woman president. You make the woman president, you're actually electing her husband. You know, they're the ones who are actually deciding these things. And Jeremy's like, I'm not saying my decision here, but I've enjoyed my time with you. And Brian laughs, but this really pisses him off. And he's really holding on to the fact that he doesn't think Jeremy is here for the right reasons and that he's not really in this with Bailey. And he tells the camera, I don't respond well to threats. I just like this scene. Some of like my last bits of affection for some of these men are like burning up before my eyes.
Evaporating.
Like as they sit around and they're like, well, technically Bailey has the power, but we all know who's really in charge here. We all know who really wears the pants. I was like, I
gross.
have zero respect for this attitude at all.
Also, the fact that they're all just like nurturing their little grudges against each other and then going to deploy them at like the right time. Like Brian is coming off like so righteous because he is correct that there is information that Bailey needs to know about Jeremy. But obviously his care for Bailey is shaped only like it's limited by the fact that he like wants to get back at Jeremy. Like the overwhelming urge is not I need Bailey to have the information she needs. It is, yeah, that sounds good. And I'd like her to have that information. But more importantly, how can I enact revenge against Jeremy?
Yeah, more importantly, I have this card in my back pocket. And
Exactly.
yes, like, it's so baldly not about their partners and about their own stake in this competition. And that is, I guess, sort of what I kind of feel like the money element has added in general is I think it sort of has like really shifted focus away from the couples and more towards everyone's own sort of like gameplay and strategy.
That's true. But what's interesting is that I already feel like that was a problem this season that we
That's
have
the
seen,
thing.
especially with like Jonathon and Kat, the constant like, oh, well, he's going to tell her information she deserves to have, but his motives are very selfish. His motives are not pure.
In a way, it's
Like
sort of fascinating because adding the money just actually has emboldened people to be more obvious about their intentions.
Yes.
Which is kind of fun as an audience member. Like we're always trying to like read people's intentions, but they're just telling us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's cocktail party time. And unlike Jeremy, Bailey has feelings and she cares about people. And so she is looking pretty ill about having the power. And Jesse encourages everyone to have the important conversations. And this time around, that means that the people who are vulnerable have to like sit down for joint interviews.
They have to
with
kiss the ring.
Bailey. I mean, it kind of came off as like, I don't know, like they're applying for like a mortgage or something. It's like the two of us have to sit
Yes.
down in front of the arbiter parfait and like make
But
a
also,
case.
there's only one mortgage available.
Exactly.
Or sorry, two. There are two mortgages
Two
available.
mortgages. Brian is ready to kiss Bailey and Jeremy's asses for strategic reasons. But Parisa is actually more focused on her relationship with Brian, which is so silly. He doesn't care about that. Like, that's not relevant. she feels like he's ignoring her and just like laughing and joking with other people and not with her. And so she pulls him aside and is like, "You're treating me differently from everyone else. Like, please don't ignore me. I just want to have a great night together." And he's like, "What the fuck is she talking about? Tonight isn't about that. It's not about us talking. It's about me getting a rose for us by talking to Bailey."
I I I have to say, like, I really I wanted Parisa to be put out of her misery at the end of this episode.
Me too.
Like,
I was like, honestly, they should be sent home because Parisa needs to be released from this dynamic.
Like, does Bailey stand to even do her a favor by keeping her here with Brian?
No. I'm like, does anyone understand what Parisa is feeling? Like,
It's a little unclear to me how much she is actually sharing with everyone else.
Yeah, we know she talked to Leia about what a disaster the fantasy the VIP suite was, but it seems strange that no one else has seemed to clock that they are on the rocks. Like, they're being talked about as one of the strongest options. Or strongest
and we do see that when Brian is asked by other people, he's just like, "Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're great."
But if you're observing their body language at all, and again, I know like what we see in the final product is different than what they're seeing in IRL, but they seem to just always be upset with each other. And even if you were to see like a long shot of them from the beach, I think you'd be able to tell that they don't have a healthy relationship.
Right. It's odd. Like, I think usually when a couple is this on the outs with each other, you would normally see other people commenting on it.
100%.
So it seems strange that people are taking Brian at face value when he says they're great. Parisa seems perfectly ready to tell people that they're not doing well if anyone bothered to ask her, but we don't see her having those conversations. So unfortunately, Brian is not receptive to Parisa's feedback. He's like, I don't care whether I have a good night with Parisa. I just want to get the rose.
Yeah, he's like, tonight isn't about me reassuring a girl that our connection is so strong.
Yeah. He's like, Parisa tends to overanalyze things. What is she overanalyzing? You hate her. Like, you treat her like garbage. Like, the cocktail party is not me going to a girl and reassuring her that our connection is strong. It's me talking to Bailey and Jeremy and getting a rose from them. I need to zone in and focus. It's game time. Like, you can literally tell a man that he is in a competition to have the healthiest, strongest relationship, and he will somehow
he's like, it's not about
find
that.
a reason to use that to actively sabotage his relationship by ignoring her and her needs.
And all he has to do is competitively give a shit about his partner, and he can't do that.
He can't.
He's
like, no.
He's like, stop asking me to give a shit about you. That's not what this is about right now. I have to prove that I give a shit about you. To Jeremy.
This is about me and Jeremy before I torch his relationship next week.
God.
It's crazy.
Leave me alone.
Later on, we even see a scene where he squeezes in at the bar to talk to Wells without leaving even an inch for Parisa to stand next to him.
Poor Parisa is just like standing in the back, like looking around, being like, is he going to notice me? And spoiler alert, he does not. And we get this exchange.
I don't exist. I don't exist. I don't have any filler. Zero. Just Botox, microneedling, skincare.
Do you?
Yeah. Don't turn your damn back to me at the bar and go talk to someone else about injections.
I do 12 and 12.
Yeah, so 12 on me is crazy, but like 6 on me is perfect.
I do 74 units total.
Can you just admit, like, did you see it? Did you see it though? I'm not spiraling, I'm just mad. I kept looking back to see if Brian was looking at me. He didn't even recognize that I was gone.
First of all, poor Parisa. Second of all, fucking hilarious.
Yes.
Also, like, at the end of that conversation, Parisa is like walking away, and Brian is literally comparing wingspans with Dale. Like, whose arms are longer, bro? Like,
I don't know much about Botox, but from doing a little math with him and Kat, it sounds like his body is like 85% Botox at this point. Like, most of us are 85% water. For him, it's injections.
Yeah. I will say that 74 is a healthy dose, but it actually just does depend on the strength of your facial muscles.
Oh, so he has really strong facial muscles.
He has really strong facial muscles is what I'm sensing from this conversation. And I fully respect anyone doing whatever they wish to their body, but he is like so intent on talking about himself and his own facial maintenance
And
that
his
he does
wingspan.
not notice that his partner is like walking away looking defeated
Yeah.
and depressed.
And then she finds herself having to be like, I'm not spiraling. I'm just mad. And I'm like, yeah, she even has to monitor whether people are going to think that she sounds crazy for responding to the constant stream of slights and like cold shoulders and ice outs from her partner. Like she's reacting to this is like such a classic case of her reacting to a constant stream of negative inputs from her partner and being
I
like, I look like
know.
I'm crazy.
Yeah, the gaslighting that she's doing to herself because of the way that he's
Sucks.
just diminishing every feeling that she has. It's hard to watch.
It's
Yeah.
it is brutal. Brutal's like the only word I can use to describe it.
Meanwhile, Jonathan and Leia are on the precipice of falling apart, and you'll never guess why. It's because Jonathan sees her as just a friend, and he has not told her that.
But
I
he's
feel like I've heard
definitely
this song
sure.
before.
He's sure that she knows. He's sure she knows.
Yeah. So first, they're at the bar, and I think Sean is like, "You look beautiful. You look like Princess Jasmine," and she's like, "Jonathan called me a hoochie mama," and everyone's
And
like,
Kat,
"What?"
Kat is like, why? Why? And he's like, no, I meant it as a compliment. And Kat says, so why didn't you just say sexy?
Yeah.
And he says, well, because everyone says sexy. And also, we're just friends.
Like that's how much they're just friends is that he can't even call her sexy. He has to call her a 90s.
I know.
Like,
First of
but
all,
yeah,
when's
like
the last time you heard hoochie mama?
I don't know if it's like offensive, but it feels offensive. Like
Yeah.
something
But
about that.
I know I wouldn't be like tittering like a schoolgirl if someone called me one. Like
I wouldn't be like,
Yeah.
oh my God, thank you. That's so
you.
sweet.
Yeah, now I'm like Googling. I'm like looking at like Reddit posts and Urban Dictionary about this. The OED says that hoochie mama is considered derogatory. That sounds right to me. And I'm also seeing Urban Dictionary defines it as someone who like still dresses sexy but no longer fits the typical definition of attractive.
Oh, really? Wow. I wasn't even aware that that was the implication.
it's meaner than I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like, wow, you look sexy. It's like there's a negative connotation. And he's like, oh, I just meant like it's a sexy outfit, but you look classy. And I'm like, that's like the opposite of what hoochie mama means, first of all. Secondly, you call your friends hoochie mama, but you can't call them sexy. I don't understand this distinction.
This differentiation you're doing.
I can
no.
only slightly insult my friends when I'm calling them sexy.
And like also you're all cast members on Bachelor in Paradise and you're here because you're sexy.
Right. You're
Right.
all baseline sexy.
Sean
That's a
is not
given.
dating Leia, and he just told her she looked as beautiful as Princess Jasmine. You can't say
Right.
that to the woman that you're romantically coupled with.
And I really hate to give Sean credit, but sometimes you have to.
And Kat's like, well, you're friends, but you like her, right? Like romantically. And
And he's like,
truly
define like.
he's literally like, nah. Like as if like in a casual way, like, nah, not at all. Like, I thought you knew this. This is not an appropriate way to talk about the fact that you view your like romantic partner in this dating show purely and only as a friend.
This
Like, what are you
made me
talking about?
so annoyed. And to Kat's credit, it also makes her so annoyed. She is aghast. She also was close with Jill, which I think plays into her.
Yeah, which like what was
Reaction.
that 3 days prior in real time? It's like
Yeah.
the number of offenses that Jonathan has at this point. It's like
I know
how-
it's deranged.
It was so
And-
clear at the time that Jonathan did not learn anything from how things went with Jill, which like might have been a moment to say like, hey, when I'm really flirty with someone that I don't really see romantically, it
That
can
might
be
give the wrong
confusing to them.
impression.
Might give the wrong impression. Maybe I should be more transparent up front about how I view our relationship and like where it is and where it could go.
No,
he
Claire,
just
I'll
literally
just
does the same fucking
assume-
thing.
I'll just assume again that the woman gets it. She's
Well,
picked up
yeah.
on it.
She's going to be cool. She's not like Jill. She's not going to be like all weird about the fact that I pretended I was into her and then was like, no, God, no, obviously not. Which is like the most humiliating thing that can happen, by the way.
Exactly.
Truly,
No,
like-
like that's the thing. None of these women are actually seem that upset that Jonathon isn't into them. They're humiliated by the fact that he's going around talking about them in
And
this
that
way
he's kind of
and
like
not
he's-
communicating to them.
And that he has sort of convinced them that there is a romantic option there that has gotten them interested in the romantic option. And they're like, there's
Right.
something there. And then he's like, oh, no, that wasn't what?
That was never there. What are you
No.
talking about?
And like, oh my God, I would never even consider finding you physically attractive. Like, oh my God.
no, that's not even in the realm of possibility. I thought you knew.
No, you're more like a hoochie mama where I can tell you're trying to dress sexy, but it just like does not have that effect on me at all.
Yeah, but like, you don't have it.
You don't,
It's-
you
that's
still,
all-
yeah.
Yeah,
have
I
that
mean, it's
special
a
sauce.
compliment. You just repellent to me. That's a compliment.
Oh my God.
It's not me, it's you. It's literally you.
No, and it's like specifically has to do with like your physical appearance, like specifically.
It specifically has to do with your sexiness and the fact that I find a lack thereof. That's all I'm saying.
Also,
And
I'm
like
sorry.
also these women are gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Like-
Objectively.
It's so hard to watch.
So he's like har-harring about this to Kat. He's like, oh, no, I thought you knew. I feel nothing for her. I struck out in paradise. It's okay. Kat is horrified. She's like in her ITM saying, it seems like Jonathon is telling people one thing and Leia another. She's like, he already did this with Jill. Correct. And she asked Jonathon if Leia is aware that they're just friends. And he says that she is. But when Kat and Jess sit down with Leia and ask if Jonathon has communicated this with her, she says no and seems really surprised. She's like, I thought we were still feeling things out. And it's true. We have seen several in the moments of Leia being like, oh, I didn't know he liked me, but I guess he does like me. Like, I guess he does like me like that.
Yeah. That's what's so infuriating is like it's not ever the women's idea.
Right.
It's like he's
Right. And
putting
it's
it out
not as
there.
if these women are coming in being like, Jonathon, my one true love.
No.
Leia
Right.
went in thinking, oh, that's my friend Jonathon, and then got the impression that maybe there was a romantic option and they were mutually feeling it out.
And Leia says that what he told her was that he could finally relax. And she was like, why? And he said, because of you, Leia. And I guess she's supposed to read into that, I can finally relax because my friend is here. And obviously I will never
And
have
now
a
I no
romantic
longer have to try. It's
connection with
so
her.
relaxing.
And Jess is like, what is he doing? I'm getting so upset. Like, use your words. And then he wants to act like Mr. Nice Guy. So I feel like this is where the clip that they try to imply that she's saying
Yes.
Spencer isn't actually a nice guy. It seems like that's probably something she says about Jonathon.
Yeah.
Which is true. It's infuriating. He acts like everyone's best friend, nice guy, but then like he keeps pulling this move, which is like
It's obnoxious.
really obnoxious.
You've got to land the plane if you want to be the best friend. You can't.
Right.
Your
Yes.
last like impression of someone can't be that they humiliated you on national TV. Like that's not a
Right.
friend.
That's not going to do well for the friendship.
Honestly, this is starting to, and this isn't fair because I don't know what happened here, but this has happened so many times during this show that it's made me start to think differently about his like post-show, are they friends or are they dating thing with Jen?
That's such a good point.
Because everyone was like,
Fair,
oh,
yeah.
poor Jonathon, give him a chance, like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
Did she?
interesting. Did she? Or,
Maybe
like,
he just saw her as a friend the whole time.
did he really enjoy like milking the like everyone thinks she should choose me, but he's actually not even interested? Like,
And did he get enough attention from that he then went on to use that in the playbook on Paradise?
right. Like, I'm sorry, you
interesting.
can't assume that they are friend zoning you. Like,
No.
No, on a show where the whole point is to find someone to hook up with.
Also, you're allowed to not be interested in someone. You just have
Right.
to own that.
crazy behavior. So Leia pulls Jonathon for a chat and says she wants to hold him accountable for his words and the way that he moves. And she confronts him about what she heard, and he confirms that he doesn't know if he'll be able to get over the hurdle of seeing her as just a friend. And she kind of presses him on this, like, what's the hurdle? Like, what do you mean? Like, and he's like, well, if you need me to be black and white, then I'm going to say no. Like, I only see you as a friend. And he keeps trying to bumble around and be like, but, you know, this and that. Like, I don't know, Leia. Like, don't take it that way.
equivocating. Stop it. This is the most honest thing you could say. I don't have a romantic connection to you. You should have said that up front.
Like, why are you equivocating to her and then going to Kat and, like, laughing at the idea?
right.
being
It's so
romantically.
disrespectful. And again,
Yes.
not
And
friend
that's
behavior.
what Leia is upset
Yeah.
about.
Not
she is
friend behavior.
upset. Yeah, that she is upset that he's being a shitty friend to her.
Exactly.
He is being disrespectful. Later in the episode, we hear her say, like, Jonathan's supposed to be my closest friend in the villa, like in the house. And this is how he's treating me.
Yeah. A running theme among the men this season. Real batch of duds. So he's trying to kind of like string out the conversation, but she's gotten what she came here for. So she just gets up and leaves and is like, that's fine, Jonathan.
Good for you, Leia.
Cut to Hannah Brown saying her one line of the episode. It looks like everyone is getting along well.
I continue to be so deceased. I was like, is it in her contract that they have to have her speaking every episode in order to get her payment? I don't know what it is, but I am so happy that she's getting that bag. Just laugh all the way to the bank, honey, because this is her contribution.
She's getting massages most of the day, mani-pedis. Like, she's like, oh, I'll pop in. I got to like pick up my laundry and do my batch line.
It's so good. Oh, yes. It looks like everyone is really getting along.
It's crazy. They had nothing planned for her. They brought her here.
Not a thing.
Literally nothing planned. The whole night, Bailey and Jeremy, as we said, are getting sat down to interview at-risk couples. And Jeremy's like,
at-risk.
They want to see who's going to get the grant. And Jeremy's like, I know Bailey is a bit more empathetic than I am tonight. And he's just here to guide her and make sure she's making the right decision for us.
Okay, sir.
I would love for just like one couple getting any screen time to not have like a controlling male partner and like a female partner who's kind of under his thumb.
We need more Spencer and Jess.
I know. They're too good. We're not seeing enough of them because there's not enough conflict. They're just like cute.
They're just like cute. And Spencer's just out here being an ally to the women.
I know.
Yeah, well,
show me more.
He's not in the boy chats either because he's like, I don't want to listen to the men just like scheming and being misogynistic pricks. So I'm going to hang out with my lady.
And I feel like Spencer would never say he hates the
Spencer.
Goldens.
I'm sure
Never.
Spencer like feels one with them, I think. Faith and Kim go the very earnest route. They feel they have something special. They aren't ready to let go yet. Leslie and Gary kind of split the difference. Leslie's like, we would love more time here so we can grow together and see if they could have something outside of the show. And Gary's like, we don't get opportunities like this one much as Goldens. And so it's really meaningful to us. And like, if you give us this opportunity, you'll have an ally, like maybe we'll give you some payback at some point. But Leslie does tell Bailey that she'll love her no matter what, thereby sealing her fate. You have to be like, and I won't love you anymore if you let me down.
I know. Oh. Leslie's too good a person.
Exactly. Like, I think they were too honest in their pitch, too. Like, if they had made it a little bit more like, oh, we're in love and we have to say, but like she was a little bit too candid in her assessment.
Well, this is the thing that kind of annoyed me about Faith and Kim, who I think are lovely and I want to see their relationship develop. But it's just, they also don't want to go home. They're not just like, we're so in love that we need this time.
Yeah.
But that is how they pitched it, and it really worked.
Because you do have to know that like one of the Goldens is going home. Like they're going to choose, unfortunately.
Yeah. And Faith and Kim, I think wisely just went full on tug at Bailey's heartstrings.
Yeah.
I think Bailey says, I think sending any of these women home tonight will bring me to tears. And Jeremy says, I could give a fuck who goes home, to be honest.
We know.
Yeah. I will say this. The men are giving villain this season. There is no shortage of villains.
It is, and it is fun. Yeah. Like this next scene, which honestly I fucking loved, because Brian pulls Jeremy for a little like man-to-man mafioso style chat right as like that old school like Italian music starts playing.
It's the Godfather.
Yes, they're doing the Godfather, and Jeremy tells the camera, I like playing God, as his Chiron reads, Don Jeremy. This,
Yeah.
from start to finish, beautifully constructed scene of television. I had to pull a clip because I just thought the whole thing was funny.
I appreciate our friendship, our relationship. I want to let you know that I'm grateful for that.
Brian, he knows I have the power. And honestly, I like playing God.
Not looking for reassurance, but like I just want to at least show you the respect
I appreciate that.
and like where we've come from the last season.
I could send your ass home for what you did.
You 100% can.
You live and you learn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I just want to show you the respect. I can't do it. I'm really bad at voices, but you know what
Yeah.
I'm trying to do.
You come into my house.
Yeah, you come into my house.
This place of
You make
drinking
this request of me.
Yeah.
on the night of my rose ceremony.
Yeah.
And then Jeremy being like, I could send you home. And Brian's like, you 100% can. Again, no, he can't. Bailey makes the decision. Can you believe it? These women, they have their universes within themselves. They have their own loyalties.
Their
they
own
have their own
autonomy.
strategies.
But Brian is not bartering with Bailey over like a meatball sub, okay? And like some vodka sauce.
Because that would be
Honestly-
recognizing her agency, which isn't a
Yeah.
big Brian thing.
This whole
not.
conversation is just about saying, to be clear, Jeremy is the one with agency. I'm the one with agency. Jeremy, I make the decision. And Brian's like, yes, you do, you big decider, you. Like,
Oh, you big boy.
you big
And
boy.
Brian says, in a situation where I have the rose next week, just know I don't forget things.
I never forget a
I
favor
never
that's
forget.
been done to
I
me.
never forget. I will give it back to you tenfold if you don't cross me.
And then Jeremy asks how he and Parisa are doing, and Brian says, good. Like, let's not
He's
talk
like,
about
"Oh,
that. That's not relevant to this
important, not
conversation."
important.
Oh, yeah, her. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, we're good. We're great. We're great. But more importantly, I've been uneasy about going home.
Brian also tells Jeremy that he thinks the world of Bailey, and yet he's not having this conversation with her. But this is really more of a threat. He's like, I think so much of Bailey. She's really dope. Like, she's so great. Amazing person. I really think so highly of her. And Jeremy's like, she's an empathetic person. And Brian's like, I know you're a cold bleep.
What was he saying? Like a
fucker or
cold
something.
motherfucker or
Yeah,
something?
I
A
don't
cold-hearted motherfucker? I was trying to read, but they really effectively blurred his whole mouth.
It would have to be fucker, right? Because asshole, you
Yeah.
wouldn't say cold asshole.
No, it's got to be
Yeah.
fucker's got to be in there, but there were
Yeah.
multiple words.
Yeah.
Regardless, he is he's like sort of like joshing Jeremy here, but Jeremy doesn't take these things lightly.
They both are doing this thing throughout the whole episode where they're joking, but they're actually threatening each other very
Yeah.
seriously.
They're like, don't listen to my joking tone. Listen to what I'm saying. I will hurt you, and I'll enjoy it. And what Brian is really doing here is reminding Jeremy that maybe he could do something to look out for Bailey, something that Jeremy wouldn't like at all, because Bailey means so much to him, so much that maybe he could tell her things that she should know. So we get a flashback to the bird night where Jeremy tried to whisper to Brian about Bailey and Susie off camera and off mic. And then we get an in the moment of Jeremy saying, I don't get the motive.
And
like,
then
seeming
spliced
upset.
in with a bunch of voiceover where we don't see what he's wearing at all. And I was like, I think they're implying that Jeremy is suspicious of Brian, but I don't think he actually is, at least at this point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think at this point he thinks he's firmly in control of the situation.
Yeah. And I think they're cutting in maybe even some interviews from next week's episode to give us this impression. So heading into the rose ceremony, Faith and Leslie know one of them is going home and it's not going to be Parisa. Jeremy, meanwhile, is now talking about these two roses as if they are definitely his to hand out, jointly with Bailey, but
Yeah.
mostly his.
She'll be there in a
Also-
more ceremonial capacity.
What upsets me so much about this too is like he's the one that gets all the glory of having this power, but Bailey is the one that like takes on the emotional debt of like
I
I'm
know.
sending someone home. Like she doesn't get any of the fun of being power hungry.
Yes, one of
No.
the classic like gender splits. Like I feel like you see this like in parenting a lot also. It's like the male figure gets all the like fun and acclaim and accolades for being like such a great like leader of the family, and then there's the female partner like feeling like the weight of like being a really good parent and all the decisions that go into that, just like suffering, and everyone's like whatever, like but he's doing such a great job.
Guys, it's gender dynamics are so depressing.
Something about this new format is really bringing them out again. Like I feel like the last few seasons of Paradise have not been quite as
well. It's been like equal opportunity trauma.
Yeah.
But no, now we get to do more gender performance.
So the women who have roses all get a chance to give them out. And of course, they just give them to their partners, Bailey to Jeremy, Alex to Andrew, Kathy to Keith. And Kathy says she doesn't care about the money, just love. So if she was Bailey, her rose would go to Leslie. She thinks Leslie is really...
I think Kathy thinks that Kim and Faith are full of shit.
Interesting.
Well, also, we know that Kathy thinks that they are not a good match.
Yeah, from day one, she's been very vocal about it. And she and Keith have been like observing them. She's not buying it.
Yeah. Alicia gives her rose to Sean, Kat to Dale, Jess to Spencer, and Leia gives it to Jonathon. But instead of saying, will you accept this rose, she just says, you're welcome, and immediately walks away.
It's so delicious.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
My hat is tipped to Leia.
There was a part of me that was like, are they going to have like a switch where like Leia has the opportunity to like donate her rose? I was kind of hoping that would happen, but this was the second best thing.
And we do see in the preview for next week that there might actually be ways for people to turn on their partners, but we'll see how that
Well, I feel like if she
out.
like rejected his rose, he would go home, right? Like if he offered her
she
rose,
would
she
too.
could yeah, but like
she could eliminate. They can always self-eliminate, which they could do on like normal Paradise too.
So if you self-eliminate, your partners can also leave? Or also has to leave?
They may.
They can.
Yeah,
they
because then you've taken away that rose.
For the rest of right. Okay.
It's not like Love Island where they're like, you have to stay or suffer our wrath. Find a new connection. Find them now. Yeah, I kind of almost wish that she had gone first or second, because I think it would be interesting if a couple's on the rocks to at least give them the option of trying to steal someone else.
Yeah.
Or something.
I think the problem is, Leia,
left.
that there's just like no one for her to steal.
Still, like you could see them working some drama out of Leia being like, maybe I should give my rose to someone else. And they just totally don't even, they have her go like last.
I wish she could be like, I'm giving my rose to Leslie. We're teaming up.
I know. If we can have girl dates, why not girl alliances? And
that would be too queer. It's not allowed.
Oh, my bad. Yeah.
Yeah. The date had to be made clear that it was explicitly therapy. It's like, don't worry, we're not being weird. We're just helping Kathy overcome her fear of horses. Nothing
no
romantic
allowed.
about it. So then Bailey has to come up and gift her bonus roses. And her first one goes to Faith.
I was sad. I love Faith, but I was sad because I knew that meant Leslie was going to go home.
Yeah. Then she calls Leslie forward and through tears says that she can't give her a rose. And they hug. And Leslie assures her that it's okay. So she gives the final rose to Parisa, but doesn't apologize to her for making her spend more time with Brian, though I think she should. Leslie and Gary say their goodbyes and leave together. And Leslie says, I think that we showed the young people that when you get older, you don't have to stop having fun or tamp it down. And Gary says that he and Leslie will continue to explore, and also that none of the men will go to Vegas with him now, and they have told him this explicitly.
And that seems fair. So after the rose ceremony... So after the rose ceremony, Jesse tells everyone that this week's challenge tested their current connections. But next week, the challenge will explore lingering interests that they might still have in others. And Kim says, that sounds ominous. Brian,
are they going to bring people in? No, because then it's
they said they
has,
wouldn't. Yeah.
Then it's really just Alicia and Dale. There's no other lingering interest.
Right.
Left.
What we see in the preview is that it's less of a way for people to be allowed to explore and more of a way for people to find out if their current connection is actually their most compatible or something. I think it's also going to open up an opportunity for Brian and Bailey to have some one-on-one time, which is really what the show wants to facilitate.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what it is. It looks like they're set up to do some sort of like kissing booth thing again, but it really could be anything.
It could be anything. Yeah, they just show little clips.
Different from the kissing booth was the one where you put like your deal breakers, right? Haven't we already done like
that
a
one
few
was bad.
versions
That
of this?
one was a useless challenge that had absolutely zero interest, like, or impact.
All I did was affirm what we already knew about everyone. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So we will see. Brian makes it clear that he's relieved he and Parisa survived this rose ceremony, but Paradise isn't about Parisa. It's about Jeremy, and he will be gunning for him next week.
He's like, thank God I have something to do here other than talk to Parisa. Jesus Christ.
That's not what
bummer.
this is
Can you
about.
imagine? Oh my God.
So next week, we have that compatibility challenge. We also see that Jonathon is going to try to assure Leia that there's a gray area in their relationship, and Leia is going to be very annoyed. And she says, I'll have you eliminated, which, get it, girl. Brian is also going to spill the tea to Bailey about Jeremy and Susie, and Bailey will indeed be devastated. And Jeremy then wants to send Brian home. Also, someone's going to get voted off by their peers. Could be fun.
Yeah. I can't believe that Jonathon is going to go into another week trying to do this thing. If you're going to Kat and laughing at the idea of being more than friends with Leia, then you do not get to tell Leia that there is a gray area. Like, then you should be telling Kat that there's a gray area, but you didn't, did you? You laughed at it.
Send his ass home.
These men are all villains. This is the season of male villains.
Truly, the luckiest women are the ones that are leaving the island.
I know.
That's the theme of this season. Yeah.
It really is like a horror movie where it's like you slowly realize that the beautiful island retreat is actually a torture chamber and you should be trying to leave as quickly as possible.
And Spencer and Jess are just like, what is that in video games? Non-playing characters. They're just like cute couple minding their own business while chaos erupts around them.
They're like decor. Like they're there to show you that it's actually a wonderful romantic place to be.
Yes.
Oh, I really hope that at this point, I'm like really rooting for them to win because I don't want like basically any of the other men to win anything.
No, they're the only people I want to win.
Well, Alex and Andrew, who also disappeared this episode. We barely saw them.
Yes. No, Andrew is the other man that I could stomach winning. Yeah. Tess, thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful journey. Can you tell everyone listening where they can find you and all of your work?
Yeah, please. My podcast, Pop Mystery Pod, is available wherever you get your podcasts. I also have a comedy podcast, Lady to Lady, and you can find me on social at Testify with 2 S's, so Testify Barker.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. Everyone go check out her work, and we hope to have you back soon.
I would love that.
And now it's time for Love to See It, Hate to See It. Let's start with Hate to See It and get the bad stuff out of the way. First, I hated to see Leslie and Gary, and mostly Leslie's journey, being cut short because Gary refused to do basic math.
Yeah, this was so unnecessary. Like, this is the kind of thing that actually makes you have to question, like, was he paid off? Like, was he throwing it? Because what a massive unforced error.
I'm going to really be turned into a conspiracy theorist.
It's like he's about to make the double play in the World Series, and instead he just drops the ball, like, and directly
stares at it.
And stares at it. Also hated to see Jeremy being rude about the Goldens, unless he was joking. But it didn't seem like it.
But, like, I guess if he is, we don't hate it. But if he is being serious, we definitely hate it. So, I don't know. Also, hated to see the way everyone just automatically seems to treat Jeremy as the power broker when it's Bailey who has the power. Bailey, not her male partner.
Absolutely wild to see. Like, it's so deeply rooted, this idea that like women can't actually have power and the men that they're affiliated with would actually be the ones in power. And even on The Bachelor in Paradise, we can't escape it. Brian, I also hated to see Brian telling Parisa that she is smothering him because she gives him compliments and she needs to really just like communicate less and keep things to herself more. Not everything has to be said. But what does need to be said is that she should be quiet.
That definitely needs to be said. Also, hated to see Jonathon not directly communicating with Leia about his lack of romantic feelings for her, and instead going around and laughing about her behind her back to everyone else.
Also hated to see the number of people who are trapped in really weak couples at this point when the twist is supposed to be about testing strong connections. Most of these people barely seem to like each other.
Most of these people barely wish to tolerate each other. And yet, here we are.
We gotta keep bringing in people. Like, I'm sorry, this is not working for me. These couples need to be replaced.
And now it's time for Love to See It. I personally loved to see the mostly A+ Chiron work, with the exception of that one Parisa Chiron. How dare you? But Don Jeremy was really working for me.
I also I'm like, this might be conflicting with many other things I said, but I do love to see real villains on this show, like kind of leaning into it. Like, it on a personal level, I question whether I like a lot of these men anymore.
But they are giving.
They are giving villain, and we need that for the show to function. So I do appreciate that there is some drama happening.
We do thank them for their service, specifically Jeremy and Brian, because I love to see their mafioso chat, and specifically the music cues that were piped in for it. It was art. Yeah. It was fucking hilarious. That is the comic villainy that we need, not these men inflicting pain on their women partners.
Also love to see Leia's iconic "You're welcome" when she hands Jonathon the rose, and also her just getting up and walking away from his continued equivocation.
Good job, girl.
I love to see these women wasting less time on these men's weak justifications for their behavior.
So what are our OG BIP vibes out of 10 iguanas? I think for me it's going to be low, just because this is the introduction of this twist. It feels more Bachelor pad than Bachelor in Paradise for me. And while I don't hate it, I actually think this was a pretty great episode. The OG BIP vibes are more like a 3. There were a lot of creatures.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It felt like a different show this week. A lot of the trademark Bachelor in Paradise elements, even just going on dates off site to explore a new person who came in, that's not a part of this episode. Everything about this episode narratively is based around a new approach. So yeah, I think that for me it's a 3 as well. Yeah, I think that's the right rating.
And on that note, that's it for this episode of Love to See It with Emma and Claire. Thanks to our wonderful guest, Tess Barker.
Love to See It is a presentation of Odyssey. The show is produced by us, Claire Fallon and Emma Gray. This episode was edited by John Bahar. Our theme music is by Tamar Haviv, and our art is by Aaron Nestor.
If you Love to See It, remember to follow us, rate us 5 stars, and leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. And of course, spread the word to all of your friends about our show.
If you want to get in touch, you can email us at claireandemmapod@gmail.com.
You can also find us on TikTok at Love to See It Pod and on Instagram at Claire and Emma Pod. And you can find our newsletter Rich Text on Substack at claireandemma.substack.com. I'm also on Blue Sky at Emma Gray and on Instagram at Emma Lady Rose.
And I'm at Claire E. Fallon. Special thanks to the team at Odyssey: Eric Donnelly, Aaron Constantino, Kate Rose, Moira Curran, Melissa Wester, and Hillary Schuff.
We'll be back later this week with our second Perfect Match Season 3 recap. Woo!